Oh, sorry, pressed the wrong button. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So if you're watching this video live, it is Sunday. It is Sunday, the 1st of June. White rabbits. Yeah, I can't believe we're in June. I just cannot believe it. And of course, this month would have been the trial of David Knezevic, who it seems like unalived his lovely wife Anna, or his estranged wife, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Now, just to let you know, I recorded this video earlier. I'm live now, here now, but I have recorded the video, so I'm going to put the video on. So that means I can chat with you guys. I hope you find this video as interesting as I do, if you like, or the information that's in it as interesting as I do. Because anyway, I explained a lot about it in the video at the beginning, so I won't repeat it now. But don't forget to watch right to the end, because so I'm here live. I'm going to chat with you guys, but I'm going to play the video that I prepared earlier in my Blue Peter mode, and I can then sort of join in the chat with you. And then at the end, look out for a special thing, a special little video that I made just to cheer everyone up at the end. Because, of course, when we talk about true crime, you know, it is difficult. It is depressing. But I made a little video that I hope will make you laugh at the end. So where am I going now? So thank you. I always start with my thank yous. You know what? As soon as I get up in the morning, it's thank you, God, for another day. Thank you for all these little pleasures that you get in the morning, getting your coffee, you know, playing with the dogs, sort of just good to be alive sometimes, isn't it? So thank you. Not that it's because of you that I'm alive, but it's because of you that I'm enjoying my life. And thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you especially for caring about the victims that I talk about, especially Anna. I feel very close to Anna, even though obviously I've never met her. But I think the reasons that I feel close to Anna are, there's quite a few of them. One, because I've been in a position years ago where I was stalked by an ex. I consider myself lucky to be alive. And, you know, what happened to Anna, it resonates with me. Secondly, of course, it happened in Spain. Thirdly, because I went to the scene and took some footage, which we're going to see in this video. Also, I've spoken personally with her best friend, Sana, and I feel, you know, I know what she's been through and what the family have been through firsthand from them. And I feel privileged that Sana trusted me with information, you know, to let me know where exactly Anna was taken from in Madrid. I went and filmed there. Anyway, so there's various reasons that I feel very close to Anna Knezevic, and I feel very strongly that David has tried, her estranged husband, has tried to escape justice. But so the information that I'm going to give you in this video makes me feel that somebody maybe along the line may face some justice on this planet. David will be facing his justice in the next world, I'm sure. I hope he's spinning in hell. But it's, you feel like somebody there were other people involved in this, let's say, and it's coming out now. Oh, it was coming out before. I've found a source of information for it now. So yeah, and Anna was a young girl. Well, say a young girl, she was 40 years old. She's on the prime of her life. She's on the brink of a new life. Sorted her life out, got away from that horrible twonk. And then he wasn't going to let her go, was he? He wasn't going to let her go. He could not stand the fact that Anna was happy. And he certainly didn't want to give her any money, you know, even though their business had been successful. And she was just as responsible for that as he was. So I'm glad that it seems like maybe some justice might come out in this world. I want to special thank you to my members. Special thank you to those of you who send me super stickers, buy me Ko-fis, PayPal me, send me nice emails. If you sent me an email, I haven't replied. Sometimes I do get bogged down with the emails. What else do I want to say? But thank you anyway. Thank you for nice messages. I get some lovely messages. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to put on this video. Now, as I say, I'll be able to chat with you guys while we watch the video. So I'm going to say hello to people in chat as we go. But hi, lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hi, replay crew. Thank you for watching. And as I say, as far as the chatterati that are actually in my chat, I'll chat as we go along. Right. Okay. So I'm ready now. We're going to start this video. So bear in mind, although the video is pre-recorded, I am here. Let me find it. Of course, I've got to find it, but it's here. So here we go. So we're going to talk about Anna Knezevic. And this is a case that we've covered right from the beginning when Anna disappeared, not this February just gone in 2025, but in 2024. This 40-year-old woman just disappeared off the face of the earth, and nobody knew where she'd gone. This case immediately caught my attention because it's in Spain. It's a Spanish case, even though Anna is not Spanish. Anna is an American citizen, but actually a Colombian national. So Anna went to live in America, in Florida. And then when she split up with her husband, David Knezevic, she decided to come to Spain for a new life. So now look at this picture of Anna with her husband, who she was married to for quite a long time. This picture obviously is when they were quite young. It's very sad to see the photos of this couple when they were younger, when they got married, etc. They look very happy. Anna looks so happy. And if I could do, if we did like a New Year, we do like a twonk of the year thing, like what the most horrible person from the year. To me, this case, if you could do a poll, if you like, of the most pointless murder, this would be it for me. It's a case that was just so unnecessary, just a real show of evil, the perpetrator. Just what was the point in it? The way it's ended up. Anyway, some of you will know how this case has ended up because you'll have been following my channel ever since Anna first went missing. And some of you might be looking at this case for the first time. So I am going to give you like a summary of what happened. So yeah, Anna Knezevic, 40 years old, starting a new life in Madrid. So she'd been married for, I think it was 18 years, but no children, with her husband, David Knezevic. Now, David, he was an American citizen too, but he is originally from Serbia. He's a Serbian national. And the reason I wanted to make this video, apart from the fact I'm still following this case so closely because it's not resolved yet, even though there's been quite a few things, dramatic events in this case, it hasn't been resolved yet because Anna has not been found. Anna is deceased. I think it's 100% certain that Anna is deceased. But unfortunately, Anna has not been found yet and taken home to her family. So that now, recently, I've found that all the Serbian newspapers about this case, and I've been going through them and translating and so much more information in the Serbian press. Obviously you can imagine a lot of interest in this case because David Knezevic is Serbian himself. So let's go back to the beginning. So Anna goes to Madrid to start a new life. She's sort of got disillusioned with David, her husband. She thinks he's seeing other people. He's treated her badly. So she decides she wants to separate. And she goes off to Madrid to start a new life. Of course, she's a Spanish speaker because she's Colombian. So I suppose Spain is a logical place to go to and get as far away from David as possible. Now, in the time that they're married, this couple have built up a business. It's one of those businesses where it's difficult to see exactly what they did, but I think there was like some sort of a letting agency, also some internet stuff. They set up a business together, and this business had been very, very successful. So there's a lot of money in this business. And you know what that means when it comes to a divorce? It means arguments, doesn't it? Anna, we're going to see in a minute what Anna was asking for. This was detailed in the Serbian press, which I didn't know at the time, what she was asking for. But basically, obviously, she wanted 50% of this business. And David didn't want to give her 50% of the business. In fact, he really didn't want to give her anything. And so there was a lot of acrimony between them, despite the fact when Anna first went missing, David's lawyer was all over the American TV saying, oh, no, it was an amicable divorce. David had nothing to do with Anna's disappearance. And, they were fine. They were discussing the divorce terms. His client was in Serbia. There's no way that he could have done anything to Anna. This is how it started. So what happened? Well, Anna's friends, one day, Anna had been texting. Anna was a person who kept in touch with her friends. This is her best friend, Sana. I've spoken to Sana on many occasions by messenger. And she actually gave me the address where Anna had gone missing from. And I was there last May in Madrid, and I'm going to show you some of the footage that I took there to give you an idea of where Anna disappeared from. So Anna would be in touch with her family and friends on a regular basis. And then one day that just all stopped. So she'd been in touch with her family and friends, talking about looking for a new apartment. She's living in a very elite area in Madrid that we're going to have a look at in a moment. And, learning how to salsa dance, making new friends there. While I was there in Madrid, I spoke to people who knew her, who owned a restaurant just at the end of on the corner near her house, who told me, that she would be often in there with friends. She was a very sociable person. Anyway, so one day she was texting her friends and family, and then they got a very strange text message from Anna saying that she was going away for a while. She'd met a man in the street, literally in the street. She'd met a man and they'd connected immediately. And she was going away he had a summer house near Madrid, and not to worry about her. She was going to spend a few weeks with him, but the internet's not very good there. So don't worry if you don't hear from me, that sort of thing. And she sent that message in Spanish and in English. In English to her best friend Sana, and in Spanish to her family, who are also Colombian, who live in Florida. Then that was it. Radio silent. Nothing from that message. Nothing. No more. Nobody ever heard from Anna again. Anyway, they notified the police. The family and friends notified the police in Spain. I mean, bearing in mind that they were miles away, because they felt it was a strange message for Anna to send. It was uncharacteristic of her to meet a man in the street and then decide she was going to go off to spend a few weeks with him. Now, the police initially weren't concerned because, you know, she's a grown woman, she's 40 years old. They had no reason immediately to suspect foul play. But I think what happened, so in Spain, everything has to go through a judge. So, you know, to get the search warrant, etc., if you want to enter into someone's house or access their phone records, the judge has to grant the permission. And I think it was, so Anna was supposed to go away with a friend, meet her at the train station on the Monday. So this all happened sort of on the Saturday. When on the Monday Anna didn't turn up to meet this friend at the train station, that's when I think things ramped up and search warrants were given. And before that as well, it had been found that somebody had gone into Anna's apartment block and black paint sprayed out the buzzer, like the camera on the buzzer, and also the CCTV. As you go, you know, we'll have a look at the place in a moment. You sort of go in, it's like a big block of many apartments, and there would have been in the daytime there would be a concierge, but not in the evening time. Anyway, somebody had gone in there in a crash helmet, or dressed all in black, wearing a crash helmet, and sprayed out the CCTV and sprayed out the camera on the doorbell. So not a good sign, you know, for Anna's safety, is that someone had obviously entered in that building with the intention of doing something not very nice, because otherwise why would they need to black out the CCTV, etc. So this is the intercom. Sorry, I just want to interrupt there because interrupt myself there, because I noticed David was saying there in the chat about, if only Anna wouldn't have let him in. You know, I'd love to know how he got in her actual apartment. You know, we know how he got into the apartment building because he he's sort of sneaked in pretending to be a delivery man, probably. But how did he get into Anna's apartment? Did she let him in? Did he knock on the door and she's looked out? See, it says he's got delivery for her. Who knows? And something that actually is not in this video, but one of the things that it came up in the many Serbian news reports that I've been looking through is that Davido's brother, Ugljesa, his name is, but for all intents and purposes, I'm just calling him Ugly. He sent Anna apparently a painting, to put up on her wall. Now, was that a ploy to find out where Anna lived? How did Davido know where she lived in Madrid? How did he know? Why would she have had a reason to give him her address? But do you know what? When someone wants to find out where you live, they'll find out where you live, no matter what precautions you try and take, unless you go in a safe house. My ex, he found out where I lived twice. I had to just keep moving to get away. So, because I didn't feel safe when I knew he knew where I lived. One of the ways he traced me was through my membership of the Labour Party. I was a member of the Labour Party, and he traced me through that, found my new address through that. You can never underestimate someone really wants to find out where you are, the lengths that they'll go to, if there's evil on their mind. It's like obsessional compulsive behavior. It's incredible. If only these people used their sort of intelligence that they used to find people to go and murder them, used it, to do something constructive in life. Disgusting man, this David Knezevic. He'll always be David Knezevic to me. How the camera on it was spray painted out. And later we're going to have a look at the CCTV of the actual person doing spraying out the CCTV inside the apartment block. So this is when all the concern obviously started. The friends and family felt like those last messages that were sent by Anna they felt like they'd been translated on Google. They didn't feel like they were typical messages from Anna. So a lot of worry and concern started about Anna. And then, of course, there was a lot of frustration because the Spanish, the Guardia, as we know from other cases, they worked very secretly. It felt like nothing was being done. In my conversations with Anna's best friend, Sana, there was a lot of frustration because she was miles away. And she did go to Spain and do her best, but she couldn't stay in, she lives in America, as do Anna's family. And although they went there, they could not stay there, just without knowing what was going on, etc. So she was very concerned that nothing seemed to be happening, as were the family. But of course, as we know, or we should know by now, just because you don't hear anything from the Spanish police does not mean that nothing's going on behind the scenes. And they were investigating Anna's case, but it was so top secret. When I went to Madrid and I spoke to quite a few people trying to find out what was happening, and I did find out that it'd been referred to the gender violence court. Now, once it goes to it's classed as a case of gender violence. That is the most secretive court of all, for obvious reasons, I suppose. Because if it's violence against a woman, it might not necessarily have resulted in death, but they've got to protect that woman's safety. So it was so secret that when I phoned the courts, they couldn't even confirm for me if it had gone to that court or not. They can't even say yes or no. If you say, oh, is it in the gender violence court? They can't even say yes or no. They cannot make any comment. And it was from the Press Association that I found out that it had gone to the gender courts. So that's where we were when I went to Madrid. So let's just have a look at a couple of the videos.
Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie, and here I am in the Barrio de Salamanca in Madrid.
So the Barrio de Salamanca in Madrid is one of the most elite areas in Madrid. It's sort of just outside the centre, but only just. It's quite near the centre.
And somewhere along this road, this long road, is where the apartment where Anna Knezevic disappeared. So you can see, though, it's a very, very long road. And we've been trying to find out, the exact number of the apartment, and it's impossible. As I go through this video with you on the live stream, I'll explain to you sort of what we've been trying to do, we've spoken to, etc. So far, we haven't been able to find out, so I'm just taking this video in case we still can't find out. But I want to give you, let you know how the area is. So further back behind me, it goes into the town centre, and that's where all the shops are, etc. And then the further you come out along this road, or along this Barrio Salamanca, it gets more salubrious, let's say. So as we're coming out these apartment blocks, but you can see there's loads of them. And I don't know which one is Anna's apartment.
Yeah, so at that point in time, I was still waiting to hear from Anna's best friend, Sana, with the exact number, because I hadn't really, I thought I'd be able to go there and just ask around, people. I didn't realise how massive the road was. When I arrived there in Madrid and we got to I knew which road it was, I just didn't know what number it was. I thought, oh my God, we're never going to find it. And we did ask in a few places, and a lot of people hadn't even heard of this case. But I understand why now, because it's just so long, that road. Not everybody would have heard about what had happened, except for around the little area where it actually happened. So at this point in time, I was still waiting for Sana to come back to me and tell me which number it was, so we could go to the exact place.
The number, I just know the name of the street. But then when we got here and we saw how long the street is, it goes, we've had to get a bus along it to the end of it. To walk it would take you at least an hour, if not longer. and it's quite hot now. You can probably see the sun's out. It's busy, of course. This is town centre, capital city. Busy, very busy area. But so what I wanted to do, just in case.
So you can see how busy that road is, and that's when I went to the scene, I could not believe, because you'll see Anna's apartment is right on the main road. Anna's apartment block, it's not there where I am in this, it's further sort of behind me. We had to get a bus back up, I think, to go to it when we finally found out where it was. In fact, we may have gone the next day. I can't remember if we did it the same day, or because I was waiting, as I say, for Santa to come back to me with the number. But you know, once I saw how busy that road was, I just thought, how can Anna have been taken out of that apartment without anybody noticing? You know, there's cars going past, there must be CCTV, there must be dash cam footage, etc. Something's got to have been recorded on camera. So I remember thinking that at the time. I was surprised how busy the road was.
I can't actually find the exact, apartment. I want to show you an example of some of the apartments. And it will have been something like, we've spoke to some security guards, etc. Be something like this, where you'd go in, there'd be a concierge who's sort of a security guard. Some of the apartments that we've been into and asked. Unfortunately, the ones that we've been in and asked so far, they didn't know anything about the case, but they were up the other end. We feel that once we get up this end, maybe some people somewhere will know, and will know the exact apartment block. But you know, it is a bit like a needle in a haystack, so we may not be able to, go to the actual apartment block, but I'm still trying. And what was the other thing I wanted to tell you? So yeah, apparently the case of Anna is being treated at the. I've been in touch with the press office. Her case is being dealt with at court number 9 of the gender violence, but it has been marked as completely secret. No information is allowed out about that case whatsoever. It's completely secret. So they can't, even the press office that I spoke to, they didn't even know this road. It was on this road, but certainly, and they've been trying to find out for me, what the actual apartment number is, and they haven't been able to find. That's the press office in Spain who deals with criminal cases. They've been so helpful, they couldn't have been more helpful, to be honest. And they've tried their best to find out, and they can't even find out for them, for the Spanish press. Never mind for a sort of gonzo journalist like me. But they wish me luck.
Yeah, it was very interesting. That was the press officer spoke to him, because it's also secretive from the police and the judicial system in Spain. They were like saying to me, if you find out anything, let us know, because they couldn't find out anything as well. And yet seems to have been more information in the Serbian press. Now that I found the Serbian press, seems to be a lot more information. It's quite odd, really. But of course, this was a case that was resolved in the end by the combination of the FBI, the Spanish police, the Serbian police, and the Colombian police. This was a real example of a concerted effort by all those police forces. But it seems that the Serbian press seemed to be more given more information, well, certainly than the Spanish press, that's for sure.
With it, and they're saying it's very important. This is a big case, and the fact that it's all been marked as completely secret means that it is a big case, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes for them. Because otherwise, if it was, a more simple case, it wouldn't all be secret. So I just wanted to show you the area that I'm in. I wonder if it's like an apartment block like this. You can see some of these apartments are very, very nice. I'll probably get arrested for taking video. But anyway, okay, I'll see you later for a live. Bye.
So I did go in, I think, that apartment block and chatted to the concierge in there, but he did not know anything about the case. But when I did finally find out where the actual Anna's apartment block was, it was quite a distance from this one, to be honest. So you could see that it maybe wouldn't concern him. So let's look now. When I went to the actual place where poor Anna was last seen alive, where she was living, thinking she was safe. I do think this is just so sad, because Anna had, she'd gone away. Oh, it's showing. Oh, that's good. She's going, she went all the way to Spain. It's a long way from Florida, and she thought she was safe. It's just awful that she wasn't. She underestimated her husband. It's funny, isn't it? You could be married to someone all those years, and obviously she'd cottoned on to the fact he's not a very nice person. That's why she wanted to separate from him. But she had no idea just what a demon this man was. She just had no idea. It's terrible, isn't it? Imagine going all those miles away to escape, from a dodgy sort of, marriage, to rebuild your life. Couldn't go much further away, really. And it did, she still was not safe. She did not know what was going on in the background. Anyway, let's just have a look at the apartment. So this is the actual number 65. This is actually where Anna was staying. I don't know exactly which apartment it was, but that's the main door in. We went into this shop next door and we spoke to a... Yeah, we couldn't see any security cameras. But the thing is, what her twonk of a husband didn't realise, look how busy this road is. Now, this man... because, spoiler alert, it was David Knezevic who said he was in Serbia. He wasn't in Serbia. He was in Madrid. He was there just waiting for an opportunity to do this woman some harm. His wife that he'd, been in love with, married. Just so he is such a demon, this man. Anyway, so look how busy it is. How did he get Anna out of there? How did he? But anyway, we'll find out. Couldn't get a more busy road, really, could you? Right next to a KFC. Now, unfortunately, when we found, I think we'd originally gone on the Friday, and then it wasn't till the Saturday that I got the actual address. And unfortunately, when we went on the Saturday, the concierge wasn't there. The concierges only seemed to be there midweek up to a certain time, so we didn't get a chance to speak to the concierge. But this is the actual bell that David would have rang to get in somehow. Did he even ring a bell? It's thought that he was pretending to be a delivery driver. So, yeah, poor Anna. That was where she disappeared from. Now, there was an underground sort of parking, but not anyone could just get in there. So I don't think he would have parked underneath. I think he would have parked around the corner. Anyway, we'll hear what happened. So that was it. I went on a location there and managed to have a look at the scene. And that's where poor Anna, she thought she was safe there. She was having a great time. As I say, she was learning salsa. She was on the internet. She was looking for romance, if you like. She was on Bumble, it turns out. I've read, again, that's something that I read in the Serbian press that hadn't come out before. And why not? A young, attractive woman, a rich woman, you know. She was looking for love. She'd come out of a horrible relationship and she was looking for love, and who can blame her? So where do we go from here? So it all went very quiet then. And, you know, as I say, her best friend, Sana, and the family were so frustrated because they felt like the case was going nowhere. Were the police investigating it properly? You know, all these kind of things. But of course, it turned out it was one day, then all of a sudden, out of the blue, we get the news that David Knezevic, her husband, who said he's been in Serbia all that time. You know, according to him and his lawyer, he never went anywhere near Spain. Why would he go to Spain? He doesn't speak Spanish, didn't even know where Anna was. You know, why would he go to Spain? He was in Serbia, according to him. Turns out, of course, he wasn't. He was in Spain, right outside Anna's house. Anyway, then for some reason, probably because, you know, the thing is, Davido, as we've been calling him, he is like a thicko who thinks he's clever. You know, he thought he'd committed the perfect crime. And for some reason, he decided to go back to Florida. And the moment that his plane touched down at the airport there in Florida, David was arrested and charged initially with kidnapping of Anna, because there was, you know, I expect sooner or later we'll find out all the full evidence, but there was no evidence or proof that Anna was deceased. And of course, she may have been being held somewhere, mightn't she? So, you know, I suppose there's always an outside chance. Anyway, they charged him with kidnapping. But then when we found out the evidence against David, it seemed, you know, just impossible that Anna was still alive, even though to this day his solicitor is still saying, oh, well, she may still be alive, even after everything that's happened since, which there's been a lot of twists and turns in this case. So he was arrested, and we're finding out all sorts of things now. But the problem is, so this CCTV came out. This was David in the Ferreteria, which is the hardware store, just around the corner from Anna's, buying duct tape. You know, David, who said that he'd never been to Madrid, why would he go to Madrid? This was him buying the black spray paint that he used to spray the CCTV, duct tape, and God knows what. And then these other pictures came out. Look, this is the this is the person. This is how clever this guy is. Not, he's walked in. You know, he's got his crash helmet on and a mask or whatever, and then he's gone up to spray the CCTV. You can see as clear as day it's him. You know, you don't mistake those eyes. So, you know, the Guardia Civil or the Policia Nacional or whoever was dealing with it, they knew this was David. Obvious it's him. Why was he in Madrid? Look, even here in the Ferreteria, he hasn't even got a mask on or anything. He could have hidden his face better, couldn't he? But, you know, he's a thicko. He's a thicko who thinks it. And, you know, he was so thick that actually, even when he sprayed that CCTV, you know, we get the picture in spread, he didn't spray it properly. So he could still be seen. And he was actually seen going up in the lift. He came back out. Then he went back in there with a suitcase. And then he spent another couple of hours, probably in Anna's apartment. And then came back out with the suitcase. Now, Anna was tiny. She's tiny. She's less than 5 feet tall. She only weighs 45 pounds. Is it pounds? It will be, will it? Well, kilos. Oh, kilos, 45 kilos. You know, so a tiny little thing. So he came out with a suitcase. And then it also transpired that this twonk had, in fact, rented a car in Serbia, driven all the way to Madrid, because it is possible to drive all the way through Europe, without having to go on a ferry or anything like that. It's possible to drive from Serbia to Madrid. He'd done whatever he'd done to Anna, and then he took her off. This is what's thought to have happened, though he's never admitted it. Took her off in the suitcase. I mean, did he actually dismember her there in that apartment? We don't know that yet for sure. Who knows what he did? I mean, what a horrible man. I mean, imagine. So this is premeditated. Sorry, I'm just stopping that a minute because he wouldn't actually. She's so tiny, Anna. He didn't really need to dismember her. He wanted sort of, I don't know, did he strangle her? Did he shoot her? I don't know. I don't think there was any DNA found in the apartment, or not that we know about yet. So how did he kill her? Did he strangle her? Did he sedate her? Because he was Googling some stuff. We'll see later he's Googling all sorts of things. We don't know how he sedated her or how he killed her. Did he dismember her, or did he just sort of fold her up and put her in that suitcase? Because she was so tiny, she wouldn't have been difficult to put in a suitcase. Would have needed a bloody big suitcase to put me in, that's for sure. But unfortunately for Anna, he didn't. And off he went, literally just walked out of there with her body in that suitcase. Anyway, I'm glad he was like a thicko, but it just all seems so pointless. He's sort of, deleted himself now as well. What was the point of it all? What a nasty, horrible person. God, to do that to your wife, for just over money. God. As well, don't forget, this isn't a moment of rage and a crime of passion. David was probably so angry that she'd left him, and she wanted the money that he didn't want to give her. He didn't want her probably meeting anybody else. It was all right for him. These sort of twonks who have other people themselves, who are unfaithful themselves, they're normally the most jealous people, aren't they? So he planned all this. Imagine driving all the way from Serbia to Spain, and the hours that it would take you, and what you're thinking about is how you're going to murder your ex-wife, someone you've been intimate with, someone you loved enough to marry, started a business together, been together for years. What a horrible, horrible man. Planning it all. Anyway, so this is what happened. Now, we still do not know where Anna is. Seems apparent that he took Anna out in this suitcase. Just doesn't even bear thinking about, does it? Now, while he was in Spain, he reported the number plates missing. And when he finally took the hire car back to the hire company in Serbia, not only it had a different number plate on it, not suspicious at all, is it? He'd had the windows tinted, because of course that's what you do with hire cars, don't you? Yeah, you rent a car and you get the windows tinted. How thick does he think people are? Did he really, really think? Honestly, this man's stupidity is beyond anything I've ever seen. Because if you think you can rent a car, take it back with the windows tinted and the car registration having been changed, that you've reported missing in Spain, and then people aren't going to know you've been to Spain. Go in a ferreteria and buy the things you need to do this horrible murder without even a mask on or a hoodie or anything. Did he really think? Do you think people don't realise that in this world that we live in now, it's easy for the FBI to work with the Spanish police and to work with the Serbian police and to work with the Colombian police? Because another thing that it turned out was he was in communication with a girl in Colombia, and he'd asked her to translate these texts that, remember the text that Anna supposedly sent to her friends and family, that her friends and family felt like they looked like they didn't feel like what Anna would normally write. Turns out David has got the Colombian woman that he's in contact with to translate one in Spanish, because David didn't speak Spanish. Well, he speaks English, I presume, but I don't know where he got the English. Maybe he did the English one. And what he underestimated there as well was, again, the power of the internet, because this woman that he was in contact with in Colombia, she told her mum, "Oh, I've met this really nice guy on the internet. Really like him. You know, blah de blah de blah." He wasn't. Did he not think that this girl would tell her mum or somebody? Anyway, so it's the mum who was very clever. She Googled his name, because the other thing is, he'd given his real name as well to the girl that he was asking to translate messages. He gave her his real name. I mean, thick isn't the word, is it? Thicko of thickos. And her mum Googled him. And when she Googled his name, she saw that his wife was missing. So she phoned the police, the Colombian police, and reported what had happened. She's worrying about her daughter's welfare. I mean, it's like, you know, you couldn't make it up if you made a film about it. So this twonk, this idiot, he's been speaking to this Colombian girl. He's got her to do the translation of the message. She's told her mum she's met someone online. She really thinks he's really nice, blah, de, blah, de, blah. The mum Googles his name and sees that his wife is missing and goes to the police. So this was all going on behind the scenes, as everyone was thinking nothing was being done, you know, and understandably Anna's friends and family getting frustrated because feeling that the police weren't doing anything. Of course, they were doing something. This was all going on behind the scenes. Well, so where do I go now? Oh, so then, of course, David. I mean, you know, just I'm watching this, you know, obviously I recorded this morning. As I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, you know, you constantly take, even though I know this story, I'm still taken aback by his thickness. You know, he, for a man who supposedly had an internet business as well, don't forget, he doesn't seem to understand how the internet works. You know, that you just get on Google, you know, there's that girl, she's saying to her mum, this has happened. And mum's Googled his name because he's given his real name and seen that his wife is missing. Doesn't seem to, you know, for an internet guy, he doesn't seem to understand how the internet works. Just weird, just absolutely weird, in my opinion. No wonder he deleted himself, for God's sake. No, when it all came home, did it all finally come home to him in the end that how stupid he'd been? Is that why he deleted himself? Yeah, I agree, David. He must have been a laughing stock. Bloody ridiculous. He was arrested. You know, this big operation was going on behind the scenes. I think they must have been trying to give David a false sense of security, you know, hoping he would go back to the USA so they could arrest him. Don't know why they didn't arrest him in Serbia. Maybe because the crime hadn't happened there and he's not Serbian. You know, we don't know the ins and outs of that. But they waited for him to come back to Florida, arrested him at the airport, charged him with kidnapping. And then, you know, I suppose the interrogations started, which hopefully maybe one day we'll get a chance to see. So, of course, he denied everything. He tried to get bail. He was refused bail, thank God, because he was considered a flight risk. He probably could have made bail because he's got a lot of money, but he was denied bail. His solicitor, remember we watched, he went to do, we did cover, he had a hearing and apparently he was laughing and joking even though Anna's family were there in the court. And when his solicitor, a woman, was asked afterwards, do you think it's appropriate that he was laughing and joking with these serious charges against him? And she said, oh, well, he's a funny guy. That's what she said about him. Oh, well, he's a funny guy. Well, you know, he wasn't laughing for very long, let's put it that way. And I don't expect she's laughing on the other side of her face at the moment. So anyway, the court case was coming up. He was then charged with Anna's murder as well. And from what I can gather, but again, it's still quite secretive. You know, searches are going on for Anna's body. They've searched in Italy in a forest where David must have stopped there. You know, there'd be a reason why they were searching in that forest, and he had a friend there. I think there are other people involved in this, and that finding this out about how David's family as well seemed to be complicit in all this. It's been quite distressing for me, because I've followed this case. So God knows how this is for her friends and family. David's family, because they would have known Anna for all those years as well. You know, they'd been married for years. They would know her. They're so cold-hearted, so callous, that they did not care what had happened to Anna, what this horrible person had done to Anna. Anyway, so he's charged with murder, and his case was supposed to be being heard this month. June. Are we in June yet? Yeah, 1st of June today. Black rabbits or white rabbits or whatever. But there won't be a trial because David Knezevic, not that long ago, just a few weeks ago, decided to take himself out of this world. So whilst in prison, he deleted himself, taking all his secrets with him, not telling the family where Anna is, not giving them the decency to, bring their loved one home, to put Anna to rest, with dignity. Where is she? Where has he buried her, or where has he left her? Is she still in the suitcase? It's foul what this man has done. And now he has gone to another place. I hope he's burning in hell. I hope to God he's spinning and burning in hell, this man, for what he did to Anna. And the fact that he took those secrets with him, he could have at least told people where she was, couldn't he? Do one decent thing, his mortal soul will be spinning in hell because he did nothing to, to sort of redeem his soul. So he'll be, I don't know, experiencing whatever. Hope it's hell. Hope he is burning in hell. So it's like so frustrating for Anna's family, because although, saved, I suppose, the cost of a trial and everything, but they want their answers. This is the point. They need answers. So enter stage left, someone who I'd never heard of before, David's brother. So I don't know if this is their mum in the middle, but look how sort of David is. He's a titch, isn't he? He's like, but his brother, Ugljesa. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But anyway, I'll just call him Ugly. Ugly by name, ugly by nature. His name is Ugljesa, but as I said, I don't know how that's pronounced in Serbian. But I'll just call him Ugly. The ugly, you've heard of the ugly sisters, the ugly stepsisters. He's the ugly full brother. Lot taller, isn't he, than Davido? Makes you wonder if they've got the same fathers, because they look nothing alike whatsoever. But anyway, they're close. They're close. So it seems like this guy, so he has been questioned by the FBI, but no charges have been laid against him yet. Does he know where Anna is? He certainly knew. It seems when I tell you what I found out, he certainly knew things about this case, 100%. And he has helped David wipe off computer records. In fact, David's whole family have, his mother as well. And I'm sorry, I don't care who it might be your son, and you love your son, of course you do. But do you know what? Would you ever be complicit in something like that? I couldn't be. I just couldn't be. Might be my son. And but I would have to tell, because at the end of the day they knew Anna as well. You know, what was Anna's crime? Nothing. She just wanted a new life. She was having a good life. She was having a great time. And this man, he could not stand it, even though he also had been, you know, he'd been seeing other women, and he was still seeing other women. Hateful person. So here's Ugly. Watch out, here comes Ugly now, and we're going to hear about what Ugly's been up to. I'll just show you a few more pictures. Yeah, there's poor Anna. And there's Ugly and Davido in the background. They look nothing alike. I wonder what the milkmen look like. Yeah, poor Anna. So, as I say, I found these Serbian newspapers. I'm going to just put the background up of them. And I'm going to read you just some of the things that I found out that that I didn't know before. So this is the newspaper in the background there. Let's see if I can make me smaller so you can see it a bit more. I don't want that one. Let me find another layout. This one. Yeah. So there's loads of stories in this newspaper about Anna and Ugly and Davido and the family in general. So obviously I had to put them in Google Translate. I don't speak Serbian. I haven't got a clue about Serbian. But good old Google Translate. But I've got to say, because Google Translate, of course, it's not perfect. So when I'm reading you out some of the things that I found out through these newspapers, bear in mind it's come from Google Translate. So there's sometimes it's not very clear, like, you know, it's not perfect translation by any means, but it's the only way that I can do it. So let's see some of the things that I learned. So the police unlocked the accounts, the social network accounts of Anna. And it says here that the police revealed details from her accounts on numerous social networks, which surprised me because I've never seen that on the Spanish news or even on the American news. And America is normally quite transparent, isn't it? So let's see. So he was indicted. It's saying even though the body has not been found yet, and data was extracted from her account on various applications and social networks, but there has been no trace of any use since February the 2nd. So that would be February the 2nd, 2024. Those last messages were sent, you know, supposedly from Anna saying she was going off with that guy for a few weeks. And since then, nothing. She hasn't been on her social media at all since then. So apparently she had accounts on Instagram and Facebook, and apparently she frequently used Instagram's direct messaging option, and she communicated that way in the months leading up to her disappearance. On the night of her disappearance, she exchanged messages with an insurance agent because she was looking for a new apartment. So lease was running out on that apartment and she was looking for a new apartment. She sent him the last message around 9 o'clock local Madrid time, and then he sent her 5 messages to which she did not respond, according to the document we had access with. How chilling. So until 9 o'clock she was alive, and after that she did not respond to any of the messages from this agent. So how did David get in? It makes you what? Did he knock on the door? Did he say he had something for her? Did he say he was David and she let him? Because she wouldn't be thinking he was going to kill her, would she? So she also used a Facebook account, but less often. Her last message from Facebook was January the 26th, around 9:21. However, it appears that they accessed their account on February the 2nd, but that probably wasn't Anna, at approximately 2:39 p.m. That probably was not Anna. She received several messages after February the 2nd, including messages from a friend, but she never responded to them. So, in addition, Anna regularly used Spotify, and she'd had an account since 2021, and she listened to music almost, according to this newspaper, she listened to music almost every day. And after February the 2nd, nothing. She also used a dating app. She used Bumble, of all things, where she, again, last logged in on February the 2nd at around 6:23 p.m. That probably was not her, was it? Or was that February the 2nd was the, let's see. So she disappeared on February the 2nd. And her last time she went into Bumble was that day at around 6:23. And her Google accounts, no one accessed them after February the 2nd. So they regularly performed internet searches until their death or presumed death. I mean, we don't know for 100% certain that Anna is dead, but it's like 99.9% certain, isn't it? So the last search was recorded on February the 2nd at approximately 5:06 p.m. Her last query on Google Maps was on February the 2nd, 2024 at approximately 2:40 p.m. The last photo taken with her cell phone that appears in her Google photos was taken the day before on February the 1st at 8:27. So apparently between December the 18th and February the 1st, she conducted multiple internet searches for divorce attorneys in South Florida and researched marital property division proceedings. This is the crux of this case, isn't it? This is why he did it, probably money. So in November 2023, her Google account saved approximately 4,515 communication and media records. In December 2023, the victim's Google account saved approximately 6,780 communication and media records. In January 2024, around 5,359. However, in February, they only saved about 325 communication and media records, and then all communication was abruptly terminated after February the 2nd. So the law enforcement authorities also conducted an analysis of Anna's bank accounts. And I was going to say compras then because I've got Spanish in my head. Her last purchase, very sadly, was on February the 2nd in the afternoon. Anna bought flowers in the afternoon in Madrid. This is the last non-automatic purchase on the victim's accounts, but not counting the activities that the brother of the defendant, old ugly Knezevic, is responsible for. So it reminds us here that the married couple who lived in Fort Lauderdale near Miami in America, Anna and David, they own numerous properties that they rented out, as well as an IT company. And the investigation so far indicates that the motive for Anna's disappearance or murder was a dispute between the division of multi-million-dollar property. It can be seen from the messages that David Knezevic, intended to pay Anna only 25% of the total property, but she wanted 50%. Of course she did. He also offered to pay her a couple of tens of thousands of euros every month, but she refused. So, David Knezevic was arrested after the police found that during the days of her disappearance, he drove a car that he rented in Belgrade. He tinted the windows and put stolen plates on it. He was filmed buying spray paint and adhesive tape in a store. And then the camera on the building where Anna lived showed him spraying the camera with the spray and applying the tape to the lock. Then a couple of hours later, he comes into the building with a suitcase in hand. And an hour later, he leaves. It's horrible to think of. Anna never left the building, well, she did, obviously, but she was in the suitcase, wasn't she, really? And the police suspect he took her body out in a suitcase. So they're saying here in this paper that it's becoming more complicated because, of course, David now, he's taking himself away from everything. He's, he's 37 years old, or he was 37 years old, and he's deleted himself. Coward. So apparently there's going to be an investigation launched in Serbia against members of his family. Good, because you know what? I'm hoping someone is going to face justice on this earth. I'm sure 100% that David is facing justice in the next world. But please, God, that somebody faces justice, because her family deserve it and Anna deserves it. So he was charged, David finally was charged with murder, domestic violence abroad with fatal outcome, and murder of a US citizen abroad. And of course, there was a lot of talk about the possible death penalty. See, the thing is, I think with people like David, he's used to living a nice life, isn't he? Doing whatever he wants. Prison would be difficult for him. More difficult than it might be for some people who haven't got much on the outside. David knew. He just knew that he wasn't going to get acquitted, didn't he? The evidence was mounting up against him. And that's why he's taken his own life. But he could have had the decency, couldn't he, to put Anna's family out of her misery. So anyway, it's thought that new lawsuits may be filed for obstruction of justice against the members of Knezevic's family in Serbia, particularly Ugli, and also Biljana, who is David Knezevic's mother. Now, Ugli was arrested on Christmas Day, apparently, at Miami airport, but he has been released on bail, or he's out at the moment, as far as I know. But he's suspected of helping his brother in this crime. So new evidence have come out that they're involved in the crime. Facebook messages between Ugli and Biljana. I've got to think of a name for her, Biljana. I've got no respect for these people whatsoever. They knew this woman, they knew Anna, and they knew that David had murdered her. That's my opinion. And they protected him. And this poor woman and her family and her friends, they just didn't care about them at all. So apparently investigators who are working day and night on the case conclude that they destroyed evidence after the fact. So this evidence is already in court in Miami and will be presented at one of the next hearings. Ugli had certain benefits and rights in the business of his brother and his wife Anna, who had millions of earnings. So this is what I'm saying about the most pointless crime ever. Nobody's going to profit from this crime. David's killed himself. Anna's not there. Who's the family now? His family will probably be trying to get the money. But they'll hopefully be, tried and found guilty of aiding and abetting and things. Just seems like such a pointless crime. It's going to end up. They could have both had a lovely life if David would have just given Anna 50%, which is what she deserved. That's what she wanted, and she deserved it. 50% of the business that they built up together. He still would have had a nice life. She would have had a nice life. He would have had a nice life. But no, he wanted all of it. And so by that, he's ruined everybody's life. Pointless. So apparently after Anna disappeared, Ugly was given a credit card to use, which he allegedly used regularly. And the lawyers of the family of Anna claim that, that they will initiate proceedings in Serbia against Bilge, David's mother, and Ugly, specifically for helping to destroy evidence. Her family will also ask for financial documents. They suspect that a large amount of money was taken from the account and that Anna became the victim of a robbery. So it wasn't enough just to murder her, was it? Then they had to steal from her as well. So let's see. Let's find out a little bit more about Ugly. So apparently, so first of all, the Spanish National Police, the Group 12 of the Spanish National Police, they are the ones that are looking for Anna. And they are continuing this search for Anna. I don't think they'll give up until they find her. They've reconstructed, or they are reconstructing, every step of David Knezevic. So let's see. The main goal is to determine what he was doing after the 6-day journey by car from Belgrade to Madrid and back, precisely at the time when his wife disappeared. And they suspect, says here, they suspect he brought the body back to Serbia. Now that was a big chance he was taking. Maybe that's why he had the windows tinted. But big chance that. But of course, I've also seen on the news they were searching in this forest in Italy for Anna. So he must have, they'll be searching places where David spent a long time, according to his phone details. So apparently they want to determine whether there was a possibility that he returned to Serbia with this large suitcase in which he is suspected to have placed the body of his wife. She is only 150 centimeters tall and weighs about 45 kilograms. She was tiny, tiny. However, it is clear that this would be a very risky move due to crossing several border crossings. So let me see. So he had this car for 10 days, but when he returned it, so 10 days, he did it all in 10 days. Apparently he didn't stay in a hotel while he was in Madrid. He slept in the car because he didn't want to leave any trail, but of course he did anyway. I mean, he's what a thicko. I mean, I'm glad he's a thicko, but it is just ridiculous. It's like the Pink Panther, he's such a bungling criminal. But when he returned the vehicle, it was discovered the windows had been tinted and the license plate frames had been changed and 2 stickers had been removed from the vehicle. Cameras around Belgrade are being inspected, and the Spanish and Serbian police are working on the reconstruction of his complete movement in Serbia during that period, from the time he entered the Batrofisti border crossing. As we learn, the recordings from all traffic cameras on the highways, but especially in Belgrade, as well as the places he normally liked to visit, are being reviewed. So what else? I mean, it was so interesting to find these articles. There's loads of them, but, and I've translated quite a few of them, but not all of them yet. Although he claimed after Anna's disappearance he'd been in Serbia all the time since his arrival from America, it was established that he was staying in Spain with a rented car. He slept in his car. And based on the data from the investigation, the day before Anna's disappearance, the police located him near the building where his wife lived, even though they'd been separated for months pending a divorce case. How scary. So that day before she died, when she was just going about her normal business, he was lurking around there in this car. So apparently he went around and monitored the building in order to see a way to enter it unnoticed. And he decided, according to the investigation, not to stay in a hotel, apartment or hostel, but sleep in the car. Then he was filmed buying the motorcycle helmet and the black spray, with which is assumed he disabled the cameras. He bought these things in different shops, and then around 6:30 p.m. he was near Anna's building. So the key moment of the crime, apparently, according to this article, happened when David came to the building. It was on February the 2nd at around 10:15 p.m. when she stopped answering messages and phone calls. And after this, the police reconstructed his travels using traffic cameras that recorded a car with his license plates. So David stole the license plates, put them on the car he apparently was not involved in the kidnapping, and so he could safely escape from Madrid to Belgrade. So he was refused bail twice, David, because he was a flight risk. And when they finally decided to indict, it took a little while for them to indict him for murder, because it's all based on circumstantial evidence, and the body has not been found. So it would have been a difficult case to try, not to prove that maybe he was obviously there, but to prove that murder would have been difficult. So they had property estimated at 15 million. Anna and David were successful business people. So apparently he'd been trying to sell his business, although they might have had these assets worth millions. Sometimes when you look into things, there's not actually that much money in it, but I don't know. Just seems such a pointless crime to me. And again, it mentions here that apparently they split up at the end of the year before, in the December, when this all happened in the February, when she moved to Madrid, and the divorce case was ongoing, and he just did not agree with the 50-50 split up. So the reason they're suspecting Ugly and Bilge is because the messages that went between Ugly and his mum, his and David's mum, Bilge. "I'm done. The computer is empty," was one of the messages. So Ugly found himself on the radar of American agents because of these messages that went between him and his mum. He's still not been officially charged with any criminal offence, but he is under investigation. So a month after David was detained, the police searched his parents' apartment looking for possible evidence relating to Anna's disappearance. And during that search, investigators found an iPad used by David's mother. In it, they found messages that the mother exchanged with her son Ugly, who the police suspect of having participated. So Ugly sends a message to his mum, Bilge. "Did you manage to turn on the computer?" And then at the beginning of June, he sends a message, "Good morning, can you turn on the computer?" And his mother replies, "Right away." And then Ugly answers her, "I'm done. The computer is empty. Just put it on the charger." So it seems that what happened, reading between the lines, is he got the mum to turn on the computer and he has cleared it remotely. He wasn't there. So describing this correspondence, the investigators state there are software and programs that allow an individual to remotely delete all stored data on numerous platforms and devices such as laptops, iPads, tablets, and mobile phones. And so it's thought that maybe he helped his brother in this way and prevented the police from getting his data. Also, there were creepy computer searches, apparently. The police managed to retrieve through David's Google Cloud account several suspicious searches that Knezevic entered into his browser before the disappearance. So on January the 2nd, I presume this is David. It just says Knezevic. I presume this is David, not Ugly. He Googled the quote, "No plan survives first contact with the enemy," which is attributed to Helmut von Moltke the Elder, a Prussian field marshal from the 19th century. Then on January the 8th, they searched mixing bleach and ammonia chemical reaction. So did he sedate Anna that way? On January the 4th, he searched the internet for directions to Tara National Park in Serbia from Madrid, Spain, and to Los Pirineos from Madrid. So he was looking for somewhere to put her body, wasn't he? About 10 days later, while he was in the Fort Lauderdale area where the couple lived, he bought robust stretch film and adhesive tape from Home Depot. He got a Best Buy laptop and he withdrew $10,000 from the bank. So there's going to be this investigation going on. But the police have undoubtedly, obviously, established that he was in Spain at the time she disappeared because of the security cameras and the fact that Anna Hanau Knezevic was not photographed leaving the building, but he left the building with a suitcase. Because remember, he hadn't even, he didn't even spray the cameras properly. You could see through them. So he travelled to Spain and lied about being in the US. Well, he lied about being in Spain, I think. But anyway, tinted the windows, etc. And then it goes on to talk about this woman that he met on the internet from Colombia. And he asked her to translate these messages for him so that they sounded like they were written in Spanish with a Colombian dialect. And these were the messages that were sent to Anna's family. What else did they find? So when they searched David Knezevic's home in Fort Lauderdale, they found a notebook which he allegedly wrote down famous quotes. Prosecutors described the quotes as evidence that the defendant was thinking about murder. "Death solves all problems" was one quote. "When you have to kill a man, it costs you nothing to be polite." These are just some of the quotes of Joseph Stalin and Winston Churchill that David Knezevic recorded in a notebook. And let me show you the photos of this notebook. Oh yeah, this is the actual notebook. And of course, this is David. I don't know when that photo was taken. But yeah, Stalin quote, "Death solves all problems. When you're going to kill a man, it costs nothing to be polite." Winston Churchill. These are the actual quotes he'd written down in his notebook. This man was planning this for a long, long time, wasn't he? Poor Anna. She just did not know. So the investigators say he did not cover his tracks well enough. What else? Is there anything else that's new? Oh, so apparently Sanna, Anna's friend, who we've seen pictures of, I'm going to put another picture of her. She said, let me just put her picture up. So remember, this is Sanna, Anna's best friend. She's the one who told me the address to go to in Spain because she wanted any news that I could find. And she said apparently at the time, when she was sent this message from Anna, supposedly from Anna, saying she'd met this man on the street and she would go and stay with him in this summer house, Sanna said, she certainly would not do something like that. It's irresponsible behaviour. It doesn't seem like Anna. And she explained that the message was written in a style that was not Anna's, without emotion. You can imagine that Anna probably sent kisses to her friends and heart, like girls do, women do. The message in Spanish was so flat, it looked like it was written in Google Translate. So both of them. The thing is, he thought he was clever, but you can tell, we've talked about it, didn't we? Can tell by people's messages. If you're messaging someone on a regular basis and then suddenly you get an out of character message. So it might be a message, maybe normally they don't show emotion, like men don't seem to, do they? Or generally, maybe normally their messages are quite abrupt. And then suddenly you get a flowery message, you'd think, oh, that's not like them. Just like vice versa, if someone normally sends flowery messages and suddenly you get an abrupt one or one without emotion, you would know that, well, you wouldn't know for certain, but you think, oh, that's a bit strange. Or if they don't normally do spelling and mistakes and then suddenly there were loads of spelling mistakes, or maybe they did normally do spelling mistakes and suddenly there's no spelling mistakes. There are lots of things that could be. Anyway, apparently Ugly has given a statement to the FBI and he has claimed that he and his brother were estranged. They weren't in any contact. They were not on good terms. He didn't even have his phone number. He had to ask his mum for it. Bilge. So that's what he said to the FBI. But then evidence was found that the first person that David called when he was arrested was Ugly. Funny that, isn't it, when they're estranged? So you get arrested and the first thing you do is phone your brother that you're estranged from. And then it goes on to talk again about these messages on the iPod. Sorry, not the iPad, on the computer, etc., that show that Ugly was in contact with his mother. Now, maybe that the mother, Bilge, maybe she didn't know that what he was doing was wiping David's computer. I don't know. But obviously, I know that they are under investigation. So, basically, the whole point that I'm doing this video, I mean, apart from the fact I think it's interesting information that we did not know before, is because when David first took his own life, although I've gotten, obviously I don't feel sorry for David at all, but it just seems so sad then for Anna's family that they would not get to hear what happened to her, that he'd taken himself off, kept his secrets, his control freak, kept his secrets. Now I feel more positive that maybe somebody's going to pay, somebody, because if Ugly has got any sense at all, let's have a look at Ugly again. Yeah, look at them both in their yellow shirts, or that might just be the lighting, but yeah, cheesy grins. If Ugly has got any sense whatsoever, he will say what he knows. Because he, the only bargaining chip Ugly's got, if he does know where Anna is, if David did confide in him, that's the only bargaining chip that Ugly's got. I mean, has he learnt nothing from how thick his brother is? Is he double thicko? I feel sorry for Bilge, the mum, because she's got two thicko, nasty pieces of shit as sons. Whatever, if she knew anything about it or not, but knowing that your two sons are pieces of shit, it's not very nice, is it? Bad enough, one of them. What they did to this woman, or what David did, and it seems like Ugly knew about it, or he knows something about it. So if Ugly's got any sense, what Ugly needs to do is tell everything he knows, because otherwise he's going to go down. He's going to go the same way as David. Didn't turn out well for David, did it? Yeah. Poor Anna and her poor friends and family. This is a woman. I mean, we say it quite often, don't we? Coming into the prime of her life. But she really was. 40 years old, finally broken out of this horrible relationship with this horrible twonk, which I'm sure they were in love at one point. But, finally broke away from everything, starting her life again, having a great time. And this bloody midget twonk could not stand it, could you, David? You could not stand it that she was getting on pretty well without you. And she was meeting other people. I hope she had a good time. I hope her last couple of weeks or whatever, please God, that she did have a brilliant time. I don't know how terrified she must have been when this twonk turned up at her door. She must have been so scared. And she's such a tiny little thing, even though he's not exactly, you know, he's a tiny little thing as well. And I tell you what, if I was Davido's dad, I'd be thinking, why are they so different? You know, did they have different fathers? They just don't look anything alike, do they? Height-wise, I'm talking about. I mean, you know, I know quite often brothers don't look alike, but there's normally, height-wise, there's normally a similarity, isn't there? If they've got the same mother and father, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't care. I don't care about them. I don't care about being respectful towards them. What they did to this girl is foul, because all this girl wanted to do was be her own person. Disgusting. These stalking cases, as you know, they are really cut personal chord with me. I know how it feels to be stalked. I feel lucky to be alive, just because my ex-partner didn't know where I was. If he would have known where I was, I wouldn't be here now. Makes me so angry that people think they have the right to take somebody else's life. You know, just because she wanted what was rightfully hers, half of the business. Disgusting people. So I don't know who's worse, you know, because David for what he did, but also this man Ugly for what he helped to cover up. And as I say, he would have known Anna too. They were married, so he would have met her, he would have known her. She won't be a stranger to him. So I will keep you posted. I'm going to be checking these Serbian newspapers now that I found the Serbian newspaper. I'll be checking that on a regular basis, see if anything comes up. And please God, for Anna's family, that they find her. That's the most important thing, that Anna is found. And then hopefully this twonk, if David has taken himself away, so there can't be justice as far as he's concerned, but maybe there can be some justice if Anna's family are investigated. And I think this must be the two brothers with Bilge. Is that the mum? Maybe, don't know. But anyway, yeah, she's not very nice for her, is it? God, bad enough to bring up one twonk, one murdering twonk, and then it turns out that your other son is a twonk as well. Something went wrong there, Bilge. Something definitely went wrong. You know, one is perhaps can't be avoided, but two twonks. Something wrong there, isn't there, Bilge? Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you really soon. And may your God go with you, and prayers that Anna is found and that somebody gets face justice for this poor woman. Now, I'm not gone yet. I'm not gone yet. That was the video that I recorded earlier, but I've been here watching it with you, chatting with you. It's nice. I like it when I get the video done earlier. That means that I can join in the chat, and I enjoy that as well. So, but I am going to finish now, of course. But I've got, you know, this is sad. I'm going to, you know, the whole story is sad. But I felt sort of quite, what's the word? When I saw this, that this brother now might be held accountable, it made me feel better, because it made me feel that somebody is going to be found accountable in this world, hopefully, for the death of Anna. You know, just what David did, taking himself off this planet and not giving any answers. You know, if he decided to delete himself, well, good. But, you know, at least he could have let Anna's family know where she is and given them the dignity of bringing her home, like to bury her. So, you know, he's just a piece of, you know, I don't, he's a piece of shit, isn't he, basically? Seems like his brother's a piece of shit as well. But maybe he will be found accountable, hey? And maybe even his mother, Bilge. Maybe she, you know, if she knew, you know, there are things you would definitely cover up for your sons or daughters. depend on the severity of what they'd done. I'm not saying that I would never cover up for my son for something. Depend what he'd done. I mean, hopefully he won't do anything, but you do try and cover up for things like little things. Not murder of somebody that you knew. You knew they were married for a long, long time. I think it was about 18, 19 years. So there's no way that Bilge and Ugly and all of David's family didn't know Anna. They did know her. So, you can't cover up for that. You just can't. You still love him. I would love my son, whatever he did. I would still love him. But that doesn't mean to say that you'd cover up for them or try and excuse them or whatever. Love is a different thing. It's not saying that you shouldn't love your son no matter what he does, or your daughter. But, to help them escape justice. If that was my son, I'd be like, you've got to tell where she is. Where is she? And I'd be saying to them, look, I'm not even going to help you with anything unless you say where she is. You can't leave these things like this. But anyway, there you go. That's right. The magnitude, David, you've got to take into account the magnitude of the crime, haven't you? So anyway, I am going in a minute, but I just wanted to show you, just to cheer you up, because we'll need some cheering up, because of course it is sad. All the cases that we talk about, true crime cases, they are sad. Of course they are, because just the fact that they're true crime cases. But I'm going to cheer you up. I'm going to go out on. So this is the song that Admit made, and I've done a new video to it. So that's what we're going to finish off with. Might put a smile on your face, hopefully. I may be back later. Don't think I'm doing the Sunday service today because I wanted to do this video. I've been trying to do this video for ages, and it took quite a lot of research in that, and it just took me ages. So I wanted to do it. The problem with the Sunday service for me is, although I enjoy doing it, but Sundays is a day, where I don't have Spanish classes. So I can sort of catch up with some of the true crime videos that I've wanted to do. So I have a problem. So I think, if I do the Sunday service, because really more than 2 lives a day, 1 or 2 lives a day, I can't do, just physically can't really do more than that. Sometimes I do, but, it's a lot of talking. And at some point I have to have some lunch and a life, so I don't know, may sort of move the Sunday service and just make it like in the members because it seemed to in the members, people like talking about more positive things, etc. Or maybe just try finishing on a positive after I've talked about true crime. I haven't decided yet. I'm not saying I'm never going to do another Sunday service, but certainly won't be doing one today because I wanted to do this video about Anna. I feel very, very involved in this case. I just want to see Anna taken home and buried with respect, having it let her family, get her back, at least some of her. Do you know what I mean? At least in one way. So we're going to finish off with this little song, and I hope it makes you smile. Have a great Sunday, the rest of the day or the afternoon or the evening. May your God go with you, and I may see you later. If not, be tomorrow where we're back with the mushroom murder trial. Okay, adios. Oh,